Hello, welcome back to PokéBoys Season 7 Finale Podcast Edition. If you haven't yet, go check out the finale battle. It was epic. Winner was crowned, and perks will be had for Season 8. But here we're going to discuss our time going through Victory Road, our challenge of the Elite Four and Champion, and of course, give our review of Pokémon Unbound now that we're wrapped up, at least with the main game. I don't think any of us touched the post game, but we'll give our thoughts about the main game. But before we do that, Kumino, how you doing tonight, my friend?
I'm good.
That's good to hear. Venom.
It's been a crazy week, but I'm back in my apartment for like the 3 hours of recording before whisking off back to a different location. So,
well, hopefully it's not 3 hours of recording, because I'm flying to Ohio tomorrow, and I have to wake up at 3:30 a.m. and that is coming soon. So.
Yeah, I've got an hour drive after this. So,
oh yeah. Ooh. Well, luckily, there isn't an incredible amount of game to cover here, because we captured all the narrative stuff last week. And but before we get into that, we have to announce the challenge for Season 8. Dad, he actually came up with this challenge. This is his first season picking a game or a challenge. So let me just get the notes up so I can not... get any of the details wrong here.
I'm not sure how you would mess any of those up.
Okay, so what Dad
because
pitched,
we discussed so much.
Yeah,
they're pretty straightforward. Come on, it's
all right.
It's not complicated at all.
So Dad came up with this crazy idea that we are calling the Fate Lock. So how this is going to work: we are going to play Season 8 with traditional Nuzlocke rules. We're also going to use level caps per gym, so none of us cheese by over-leveling. However, after each gym badge, we're going to pause and throw our entire teams into the Wheel of Fate, and we're going to give it one spin. And whichever Pokemon is selected by the Wheel of Fate is going to be sacrificed and considered dead. So on top of the normal Nuzlocke, one catch or one encounter per route. If your Pokemon gets knocked out, it's considered dead. You can't use it on your team anymore. We're adding the Wheel of Fate after each gym. And we're going to have actually 4 hosts next season. The 3 of us, Kumino, myself, Dad, and then Jared from Play Along Podcast, one of the original PokéBoys. He's going to be back for Season 8. But yeah, we're going to throw... So what's that? What's 4 times 6? 32? Right? 30? 30.
Yeah.
30.
Wait, no.
24.
24.
We got there eventually.
I'm letting you figure that one out on your own.
We got there eventually. So what percentage is that? 1/24th. There's a chance that one of our Pokemon is going to die by the random Wheel of Fate spin.
Well, I'm glad you cleared that up, because I was thinking that each one of us had to spin, after we put our teams in. And
we put everyone's team in one wheel and then just give it a spin, and it's up to fate who is sacrificed and who survives. So there's going to be some tension after every gym battle here,
because it's only the team. It's only the team members, which makes it a little bit stressful.
Yeah, and it's not. Only one of us is guaranteed to get a loss. Not each of us getting one loss every gym battle. So definitely some luck or fate with this. If we lose if at any point we lose the Nuzlocke, I'm not going to force anyone to keep restarting and trying to catch up and get back. If you lose the Nuzlocke, shame on you. We'll do something to humiliate you. I don't know. There will be some punishment.
We could always do the thing where it's like whoever has the most loss they get a bigger penalty for the
There you
next
go.
season.
I like it. Yeah, that's good. We'll keep track of that. I'm sure I will lose the finale battle and probably get the biggest punishment. So that's great. That's fine. But yeah, that's it. We haven't chosen the game yet that this is going to take place in. So join the Discord and keep in touch there. We might announce it in the season 7 interstitial battle tournament video episode. Well, I just said so many words there. We'll probably announce it in the season 7 interstitial tournament, which, by the way, there is the winner of the season 7 interstitial tournament, or the listener audience member who goes the farthest in the tournament, if one of the hosts ends up winning, will get to be a part of season 8 in some fashion. I cannot reveal that yet because we're still working out the details of exactly how this idea is going to work out, but it's going to be really cool and I'm excited about it. So yeah, make sure you subscribe, follow us here, join the Discord, and so you can stay up to date with all that fun stuff. But with that out of the way, I guess we should also mention that the winner of the season 7, or this season's finale battle, their perk is going to be either having an encounter mulligan in next season. So like if they fail a catch on one of their routes, they can call a mulligan and have another encounter, or they can have one Wheel of Fate immunity. So like one time we spin the wheel, before the wheel is spun, you can say, hey, I really like my team at this point. I really don't want to lose anyone, even though it's a 1 in 24th chance. I'm going to declare immunity, and then we'll take your team out of the wheel. So the winner will get a chance to decide that. But for now, let's get into the Elite Four and Champion portion of Pokemon Unbound. So, Venom, you were saying before we started recording that you had some adventures. You caught some new team members. You want to tell us a little bit about that before we get to Victory Road and all that?
I can do a team recap and then we can get into that.
Yes, thank you so much for the team recap reminders.
Yeah. I was wondering when we was going to do it, but
Dude,
I keep forgetting that dumb part of the episode.
So I ended leg 4 after gym 8 with a full team of level 61s. I had my Metagross named Sentinel, my Scrafty named Bags, my Needleking named Spike, my Infernape named Bernadette, and the 2 newcomers, Delmise named Grim, and a Noivern named Echo.
Nice. Kumino, what was your team looking like at the end of leg 4?
Ooh, well, haven't really made too many changes at the end of leg 4. But it was Austin Aries, Crobats, Michael the Togekiss, Voltide the Rotom Wash, Mega Leroy Jenkins Garchomp, Hans the Infernape, and Mega Paws the Lucario.
Nice. I also love that I can see the Chikorita line at the bottom of your screen. I love Meganium and Chikorita.
If only they were useful.
I knew that was coming, and I was literally about to say, I don't care what everyone thinks. I love that line. Yeah, after leg 4, speaking of no changes, my team's basically been the same since leg 2. So Treebeard the Trevenant, Nalo the Pyroar, Stella the Alolan Sandslash, E Honda the Hariyama, Squidward the Malamar, and Kai James the Mega Tyranitar. Yeah, so what'd you do before heading to the Elite Four, Venom?
Well, so I actually did all of Victory Road before doing any of my exploring.
Okay.
So, well, actually, hang on. Let me. Yes. Yeah, I did the entirety of Victory Road made it to the Elite Four so I could unlock it as a fly point, and then cheated for the first time in the playthrough, and not like cheated, but actually looked ahead. I'm on expert difficulty, of course. So I need to know, what is this Elite Four? What are the Elite Four teams that I'm coming into? So looked up what the Elite Four teams were, because I really needed to figure out who my teams were going to be. I was not confident at all in the 9-10 mon that I had in my box that were leveled up. There just weren't that many strategies available to me based on what I was going to be facing. So I knew I needed to find a couple more members. I was happy with Sentinel, I was happy with Echo, and I was happy with Grim on my team. I was confident in those guys going in with what they could bring me. The other three members was kind of a little bit of flux. The trip through Victory Road was pretty easy. I mean, there's quite a bit going on here. You've got the what do they call the ice challenge room?
The big maze. Holy cow,
the big ice
one.
maze where there's a guy literally standing at the front of the maze that he's like, this is the room of doom or something like that, and he's like, I will teleport you across it for $200,000.
Yeah.
Was
that all the money you had?
At this point, I've got like $700,000.
Oh, okay.
No,
yeah. I was wondering
because I don't. You always say use your healing items and whatnot, Kumino. I don't use my healing. I use healing items in battle. That's the only time I use healing items.
I mean, that's when you're supposed to use them in battle.
Otherwise, I'm flying back to the Poke Centers every single time. But I will fly or walk out of routes just to go back to a Poke Center. So I'm wasting so much extra time by not using healing items. But I don't know. There's just something about the thrifty side of me is just like, nope, gotta keep these for later.
And the bad part about it is I've been playing what it is, Pokemon Uranium with one of my friends, and that's exactly what he does. Like, every time after a battle, he flies back to the when I fly back, because you don't get to fly to the end of the game, but he runs back to the other town.
Yep.
And I'm like, really do take it forever.
Yep. I made it to the end of the game when your card flashes by. I have 144 hours in the game. I don't know what you guys are at, but my player card is at 144 hours.
You know what?
I wonder if playing on sped up
in Infinity it does. In Unbound it does not.
Oh,
because in Infinity it was tripling the amount of time. But
there's no way I've played this for 530 hours.
Yeah, no. In Infinity tripled it, but that was played in its own native console, if I remember right, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where this is actually played through an emulator, so it actually does keep track of your time correctly, as far as I can tell.
All I got is 72 hours.
Yeah.
That is so much.
I also had 2,000 battles in before we even made it to the Great Desert.
That's true. I'm gonna check.
Mike, I wonder how many hours you got. Do you have the game up?
11. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'm pulling it up now. I'll chime in once I find it.
Gotcha. So the puzzles were not too bad. The first one where you have to push the boulder down in front of the ghost lady that attacks you. If you walk past her, she'll attack you over and over and over again. You have to push a boulder in front of her so she can't see you in order for you to get down the stairs. I screwed that up the first time I did it. Where you go and fight the fighting guy. I made it past the fighting guy, and then he saw me because you come down a stairway. there's only 2 spaces to walk through, and I went down and I started walking away from him when he turned around and saw me. So he walked past the stairs to battle me. So I could not get the stone past the fighting guy because he was on the wrong side of the stairs. So I actually had to go back. I actually had to reset my game back out of the cave because I hadn't saved at that point to be able to get through. And then it was just a matter. I actually had to go through and turn my game to normal speed for that one to get past the fighting guy at the right point, because you have to push the rock down, turn, run to the other side of the rock before this guy who's running back and forth at the base of the stairs turns around to see you. So I had to actually turn the game on to normal speed to be able to get the controls just right to get in place of the rock before he made it there to push it down the steps. So that one, I think that one actually took me longer than the ice cave did. The ice cave, really? I actually made it through. The hardest part about the ice cave was trying to find the item, trying to figure out how to get the items and whatnot through the ice cave.
I'm at 26 hours.
26 hours?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Right. I feel like we invested too much time in.
Yep. I mean, this is almost half of the time I have in Pokemon Scarlet.
But hey, at least you guys can say you beat it on expert, right?
Right. Yep. So I have about 350 hours in Pokemon Scarlet. So,
sheesh.
So to have 144 in this is actually pretty insane.
I don't think I can even play 26 hours of Scarlet or Violet. I hated that game so much. We went. Know what? Jared and I had a long discussion about this in a past interstitial episode. Right.
The quality leaves something to be desired, but as far as stories and everything go, that is total side tangent. But the story actually did a decent job of kind of getting you involved in the game. Mm-hmm. And now, if you go out and get yourself a Switch 2, get those performance upgrades, maybe it's actually worth you playing through it finally.
And I will say, don't worry, I beat it.
Okay.
But I think the Area Zero theme song makes up for just about everything. That game, right? It's the greatest good song in all of Pokemon.
Well, as somebody who enjoyed those games, both of them, Scarlet and Violet, the only problem that I have is that it's empty. Like outside of the story, it's empty.
Right. See, and I actually felt more at home in Scarlet and Violet than I do in Gen 8.
Yeah.
I feel much more at home, and I feel it actually feels more lived in Gen 9 than Gen 8 to me.
That's fair.
It does, but when you go out in the world, out in the wild, it's not a lot out there.
Right. That is, there's a lot of big, wide open space. Since you're just running it, you're not walking through the grass and stuff like normal, and you're not limited to just a 3 pixel wide route that you're running down. You've got this big open space that's kind of barren.
But, they could have fixed it by just having some quality side quests out there that made you feel like you had a reason to actually be out there.
Right.
But,
side
tangent over with.
Anyways, it sounds like you guys kind of just went straight to the Elite Four. You didn't have any kind of
straight to the Elite Four. Straight to the Elite Four.
I had to make a team swap because, of course, going through Victory Road, I had to do some waterfalling. So after last episode and my peril with waterfall, I too decided to look ahead in Victory Road just to make sure I didn't have to get like halfway through this cave and then go up a waterfall and then realize I don't have anyone who can use waterfall. So unfortunately, I swapped out Stella, the Alolan Sandslash, who I was really enjoying, for Palp, my Empoleon, and basically used all Victory Road to train him up to be right on par, essentially, with my team. And then I had like 2 or 3 rare candies in my bag that like finished catching him up to my team, which getting I was in the low 70s, 70, 71, 72 when I got to the Elite Four, around those levels. But yeah, I was pretty sad because I had never used an Alolan Sandslash. I was digging the ice steel and really wanted it because of Togekiss. Like but yeah, I needed Waterfall and I was enjoying everyone else on the team, so unfortunately Stella had to go. But Kumino, you didn't have anything going on? You just went straight in?
Just went straight in. I didn't have a problem with any of the puzzles in the cave. Like, I'm good at avoiding trainers.
Right. I mean, it certainly helps if you're not playing on 3x speed because they turn so fast. You don't.
That hard.
Super hard to avoid trainers.
So hard they just turn before you get a chance to react.
And it's so hard to push boulders on 3x too because you accidentally push it too far and then you're like, ah, crap, now I got to leave the room.
Yep, you're moving an extra space whether you want to or not, and then it's pretty rough.
So good old Kumino going on, turtle granddaddy speed, just normal gameplay speed, maybe to avoid everybody.
Tortoise wins the race, they say.
Well, and that's the really frightening part is I played 144 hours at 3x speed.
Wow.
Yeah, that was unbelievable. So technically I did beat my Scarlet playthrough apparently, but outside of screwing up the first strength push and needing to reset my game back to a previous point so I could actually make it through that, the only thing I ran into was this old couple, Mega Trainer Sterling and Portia.
Oh. Jump Pluff. Oh, remember the safe word.
Yep. Yeah. So of course I started end of leg 4. I was at all level 61s. You finish out, I think it's Route 18. We're on Route 18 to start with, and then you hit Victory Road from there. On Route 18, I did have a catch solely because I happened to hit it at swarm time, and the swarm for Route 18 is Bayleaf.
Oh,
so nice. I caught myself a Bayleaf just because it was there. It's a rare spawn. You have to be there at that 1 hour period. I didn't nickname it or anything because it's a Bayleaf and I'm never going to use it.
How rude.
But I make it to this couple, and I am, I think, still only at maybe level 64, 65. And the level cap for Victory Road and the Elite Four is level 75. So I make it to this couple and immediately need to go back and raise my team up before I can even bother facing them. So I do a ton of grinding, get my team up to all my team up to level 75, go in, battle them the first time, get absolutely wiped by them because it's a double battle. And so the Pokemon that these guys have, the guy has a full fire team, and the old lady has a full grass team, and the fire team all has drought, and the grass team all benefits from that because they're all running solar beam. And also they come out with grassy terrain right away. And so the old man has a Typhlosion level 76 with drought, a Mega Y Charizard level 77, and a Torkoal level 75 who also has drought. And then the old lady has a level 76 Meganium with Grassy Surge, which gives you grassy terrain, which then heals everyone on the ground. Mega Venusaur at level 77, and a shift tree at level 75. So
No love for that last one, huh, Mike?
No.
yeah,
If you couldn't tell, I'm like color schemed with,
Yep.
with my bulbas over.
yep.
Yeah, but when you said Meganium, he was like,
Yeah.
Venusaur, yes. Shift tree.
Yep.
He's something.
Yep. So go in once I get my team up to an appropriate level. Go in, get absolutely wiped by these 1-turn solar beams, and they've got drought going on. So I'm being hit by heat waves that are hurting both my Pokemon because it's double battles. So I pull Spike off the team, throw Dumbledore back on the team. I haven't used Dumbledore in 2 gyms at this point, so Dumbledore is only level 55, and so I need 20 levels on Dumbledore, grind him up to level 75, go back in. Dumbledore is slower than Typhlosion, which is really important because when it comes to setting weather effects, it goes by who is the slower, because the faster one sets it first, then the slower one sets it second. So the Typhlosion comes in, sets sunny weather. Dumbledore drops in and switches it immediately to Sandstorm. So I was able to circumvent the 1-turn solar beams by having Sandstorm up. And with Dumbledore, then I was able to, because now they can't solar beam me, they can't solar beam me, and they can't do the heat waves, the super boosted heat waves that are just wrecking my team. Make it through on the first try with Dumbledore in. Sandy, my Araquanid, was still on the team because I had to, of course, go up the waterfalls. So Sandy came out with 33 HP, Dumbledore came out with 85 HP, and that's all I had left for my team.
Dang. I just realized how absolutely terrifying it would be to see a giant spider just crawling up a waterfall.
Right.
That would be so
giant
terrifying.
water spider.
Right. I'm probably gonna have a heart attack right there on the spot.
Yeah.
Yep. And then there's some guy riding it.
Nice. You took him out, huh?
Yep.
Survived.
So I made it through on the third. Well, technically the first try wasn't really a try because I got there. They're 15 levels above me, and I'm like, nope, this isn't gonna work. But made it through on the first try, or on the third try once I figured out how to get rid of the weather effects. Made it through the rest of the challenges. I think there was three different challenges, kind of. There was the ice, there was the boulder at the beginning. Wasn't there another floor in the middle?
Don't think so.
Was it just
If
those?
there was, it's not ringing a bell. It didn't stand out
Right,
enough
yeah.
to remember.
Right. Yeah, I was expecting it to be a little bit. I was expecting a little bit more stuff to come back, like another one of the puzzle things that Mike loved so much that could have made a comeback. But
Yeah.
no, it was pretty.
It was a long victory road, though.
It was pretty long. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
There was that maze. It wasn't really a challenge, but there was the grass hedge.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh,
I
yeah.
couldn't make it through. Yep, that's the other one. So yeah, finally made it to the Elite Four building. Got it as a fly point, and then decided I needed to figure out who's going to be on my team. So I started flying all over the place, and I really there were 2 Pokemon I really wanted to add to my team at this point. One of them being a Toxapex, and one of them being a Dragapult. Because I knew Gen 8 Pokemon were in this, but you couldn't access the Gen 8 spawns unless you had a Gen 8 if you unlocked a Gen 8 Pokemon in your Pokédex. But Gen 8 Pokemon are available in the Dynamax raid dens. So I spent several hours doing raid dens, not finding a Gen 8 Pokemon, not realizing that the Gen 8 raid dens don't spawn if you don't have a Gen 8 Pokemon. So I wasted a whole bunch of time doing those.
That's why I'm shaking my head, because
Are they
I saw all of
available
that stuff and I was
post-game or
like,
something?
it ain't even worth
Yeah, yeah, no, because the first place I looked just said, oh, you can find them in raid dens, and I'm like, okay, cool. I didn't bother reading more results or anything. It's just like, oh, just do raid dens, you'll get a Gen 8 Pokemon. Well, obviously they were post game doing it.
All right.
So I wasted a whole ton of time, and you can only do each raid den once a day. If you can cycle them once an hour, so you can go back and check every hour to see if it changed Pokemon, and then if it's a Pokemon you want, you can do the raid den, and then you can't do it again until the next day. So I did, while looking for a Gen 8 Pokemon, in the Route 3 den, I caught a Politoed, which I greatly considered adding to the team. I was considering running a Drizzle water team for the Elite Four, and actually running basically a theme deck for it. Considering Politoed and Goodra and Swift Swim, Kingdra, stuff like that, and that's where the Toxapex would have been nice as well. And then Route 11 den, I ran into a Togedemaru, which, just because of how terrifying it was in the last leg, I had to catch that one. But then on Route 10, I ran into a Selgor raid and caught it. Have never used that line before, don't actually know anything about those Pokemon at all. But long story short, after great consideration, a Selgor nicknamed Wisp makes it to the team.
Nice.
So he replaces one of the 3 Pokemon that I'm questioning at this point. Eventually figure out that I cannot actually get Dragapult. So then I move on to my next. Desire, which is Toxapex. And for Toxapex, you need to dive. And so it's like, okay, cool. So I look up where Toxapex is, go over there, and cannot dive. So it's like, okay, obviously I don't have a Pokemon that knows dive. So I went and found myself a Pokemon that knows dive, go back, still can't do it. Dive is not available until post game for some reason. We have dive.
Nice.
We have dive. We have places we can dive. We can make it to the places we can dive. You cannot. It's like so. They tell you can't swim underwater until you're the champion of the region or so. I don't know what the limit is at this point. But
so a bit of a side tangent, or a bit of an explanation into how I feel about this game. Being that it's one of the earlier fan-made games, greatly regarded, it's one of the first ones where they wanted to make stuff difficult.
Right.
And they went out of their way to make a lot of things difficult. It didn't make any sense. Why would you make a machine that you bypass all of this stuff early on in the game that you can't have until the post game? Right. Which makes no sense. And then most of the stuff that you get from this machine that you use to, as they call it, advanced dive and dig, is really pointless at this point, unless you just absolutely digging the hell out of the post game.
Right.
So,
and I can see if they had, like Infinity does, Infinity has a very robust set of post-game enthusiasts because it allows online battling within the game.
Yeah.
Unbound doesn't have that. So, I mean, yes, we find out that the battle frontier gets upgraded and you start getting just like Infinity, you start getting visits from other gym trainers and stuff like that from all over the Pokemon world and whatnot. But there's still, yeah, like Kuno mentioned, that it's just, why is all of this stuff locked into the post game? If you're going to tell us all of this stuff is available, why lock it? And why is Toxapex, of all things, a post-game only Pokemon? I don't understand that. So
me either.
Wasted a whole bunch of time trying to get Toxapex on the team. So then I look up, because I wanted to run a Toxapex with Regenerator on it. After running the Ego Magnezone in the Infinity Tournament with Regenerator, I have a great love for being able to come out with a really bulky Pokemon, basically tease the other team with whatever it is I've got on it. In this case, Toxapex would have been running Toxic, probably something like Venoshock and Protect on it. And you just whittle people down. If they hurt you at all, you just pull them back in. You get 33% of your HP back, and they basically can't ever kill it. So I look up what else do we have for options for Regenerator, and I end up settling on finding myself a Walrein, which I've never ever run that line before, because who wants to run around with a Spheal on their team until level 30 or whatever?
It evolves so late.
Yep.
Right. That's why Boot got kicked to the curb.
Yep, exactly. So at this point, it's like I don't have to worry about the Spheal at all, but the Spheal you find is at level 9, I believe. No, level 14. So I caught a level 14 Spheal, which when I caught the Raid Den Selgor, it was level 61. So I only had a little ways to go to get it up. I just had to EV train it, which I did. I needed to do a bunch of mining anyways to get hardstones to be able to use the move tutors. Because in this game, you have to grind 20 hardstones through either the mining or in the desert doing rock smash on hundreds and hundreds of boulders. And then you can trade 20 hardstones for one of a specific gem type to a gem trader. The move tutor moves that you want cost 3 gems.
3 to 4.
3 to 4 gems. So the ones that I wanted were 3 gems. So I needed 60 hardstones to be able to get move tutor moves onto the Mon that I want. Each Mon that I wanted a move tutor move on. Not to mention, I had never talked to that guy originally. When you first talk to that guy, he's like, oh, cool, you have hardstones, and takes 20 of your hardstones to give you a TM that I'm never going to use in my life. I don't even remember what it was. I don't
remember what it is either.
I was furious. I spent an hour grinding
Oh my gosh.
60 hardstones for him to be like, hey, give me 20 of those, and then sent me back out to get 20 more.
Oh,
So,
so
like
brutal.
fluff you, my guy.
Yeah.
Fluff you.
Yep. So not having the ADM machine or whatever it is, the advanced mining, the advanced mining thing, not having that. So we're doing it with the super basic mining. So I think like 100 hours of my 144 hours were probably in the last 2 weeks. not quite, but it certainly felt like it, trying to get this all figured out. So, but anyways, Spheal is level 14, needs to be level 75. Selgor and Spheal both need to be EV trained, and I am still 1 Mon short. I am feeling really, really guilty about having 2 shiny Pokemon in my box that I have never used before. I've never used Lycanroc, and I've never used Gourgeist. Gourgeist is not making the team because I already have a Grass Ghost type on my team in Delmise. So Lycanroc makes the team. Well, at this point, he's Rockruff. Makes the team. I evolve him into Midday Lycanroc to get the speed on him and Tough Claws ability, which I think is exclusive to this game for that form. And so he was at level 35. So I've got a level 35 Mon, a level 14 Mon, and a level 61 Mon that I need to get all the way up to level 75. Get them up to level 75, go through, change out all my moves, all of that kind of stuff. And I am finally ready to take on the Elite Four.
That's it.
Venom went on a whole journey.
He just replayed the entire game.
I did. I mean, I have. Let's see. Before I get to the Elite Four, I have 97 lines in my spreadsheet of things that I did, found, places I went, caught.
Dang.
Wow.
Yeah. So I basically covered the entire map all over again doing all of this stuff.
And hence the reason why in past legs, I told you guys, yeah, I went back and I just did this because that stuff is a lot of stuff. That's the reason why I was upset. Well, I don't think I got to speak to y'all about the Lucario night. And that dude.
Right, because you were 1,300 battles shy of being able to get it.
Yeah. In which, oh my God. But needless to say, like I said, this was an early game when it comes to fan-made games. Guys, for back in 2013, awesome work. Here in 2025, y'all need to come back and update some stuff. A lot of stuff. But
actually, I have some news.
What's up?
Version 1.0 of Unbound came out. I mean, it's still 5 years old, but in 2020.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's why I said they need to come back in 2025 and do it.
Again, all of the quality of life stuff you want seems to be there. If you beat the game first. If you beat the game first.
Right. If you beat the game first. And that's what they need to do. They need to, hey, we need to replay some stuff.
Yeah.
Because this is a bit, what's the word?
Cumbersome.
Tedious.
Tedious, cumbersome, yeah. Or just
difficulty
is what I was going to use.
Difficulty in the way of just excruciating grinding and like having stuff inexplicably like excluded is not really difficulty. That's just
right.
Like being a pain, right?
Because what they wanted to do was they wanted to give the post game a reason for people to play.
Yeah.
But you got to understand, like, just because you hide or force stuff to be behind the actual
no one really cares
post game moniker, it doesn't make it something to do in the post game. Because in all honesty, like, if I'm not from the do the battle frontier a whole bunch, then I never get to have those things whatsoever.
Yeah. Right. If you don't go the infinity route and add multiplayer,
right,
or your post game has to have like basically a second story to be intriguing.
Yeah.
Because we're not trading. Who cares if you can go catch legendary Pokemon? We can't trade them with our friends. We can't battle with our friends. So yeah, making it so I can't catch a Toxapex until after I complete the story and the Elite Four is kind of silly. But yeah, so Kumino, how was your first attempt at the Elite Four?
I only had, so I do this thing where I save before each battle. So technically it was one attempt.
Nice.
It started off rough.
Yeah.
But then it was just easy street. And like the same first for me is probably the same first for Venom. It's darn Mole Man.
Right. I assume you did them in order left to right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It is. I did find that kind of interesting how you could just pick whoever you wanted to go against in whatever order you wanted.
Well, I mean, because in what it was, Kalos, was it Kalos or was it Unova that first did that where you can?
I think it was Unova.
Yeah, I believe it was. I believe it was Unova where you could choose who you battle in whatever order. So, and a lot of people enjoyed that. But yeah, I fought Mole Man first, and he is a ground type specialist for the Elite Four. He has Excadrill, Flygon, Sandslash, Quagsire, and
Glysaur, and Landorus Therian.
Yeah, see, I knew Venom had somebody else, and which it still baffles me because puzzles is difficult, the game is difficult, but yet and still,
Is your game on difficult or is your game on expert?
my game is on difficult because you don't unlock expert into the post game.
I started on expert.
How?
I started on
He
expert.
must have got one of those dad ROMs.
Right. See, he got one of those dad wrongs, but
Yep.
in this case, he hurt himself.
Yeah.
No, I've been playing this on apparently a like post game only difficulty level.
Right. But I've been sitting up here thinking to myself, like, ain't no way we playing on the same difficult. Like, the only thing you can do is make the game difficult and the puzzle difficult. I did this. Why are we experiencing different stuff now?
That's so funny.
That explains it. Yep. Nope. So somehow it allowed. I could have picked insane if I wanted to right off the bat.
My man went and grabbed somebody's save. That's what he did.
Yeah, I might have. I don't know because I did have to go and find because you had to go through and find whatever patch or something like that to update the game. So I might have found an unlocked patch. I have no idea.
That's true. That's true.
But yeah, I played the whole thing through. As far as I know, I'm the only person that in our Discord or anything played on anything higher.
But
you need to tell your cat this isn't OnlyFans, bro.
Yeah.
Right.
That cat booty.
It's only purrs. That's what it is. It's only purrs. Only purrs. YouTube love cat videos.
Yeah.
Now, I can only speak for me with Mole Man because being that he had Landorus on his team for you. Did you have the flinching?
Everyone having rock slide?
Yes.
Yes. Oh my lord. Yes.
That battle took me 28 minutes because of the flinching.
I restarted. So they come out with Excadrill and Flygon to start out with. The Excadrill is not a problem. The Flygon has throat spray. So every single time it comes out and uses, I think it's clanging scale. Is it clanging scales every single time? One sec.
For me, it was Dragon Pulse.
Dragon Pulse. For me, it has throat spray on. So every time it uses a sound-based move, it gets +1 to its special attack.
There goes the Mew.
Nah.
Poor Mew.
It only took an hour and 20 minutes, but
he took the Mew down during the battle.
Oh, did he?
I had to replace the Mew already. So it lasted a little while though. So the Flygon has clanging scales, which I believe is normally exclusive to Como, is it not?
Yes.
Yep. So clanging scales is a sound-based move. So every single time it KOs a Pokemon, or every time it uses clanging scales, it boosts its special attack 1 level. So I have to kill Flygon on the first turn, or I cannot beat this battle. I reset the first move of this battle 34 times to get 34 times to get a single playthrough where I did not flinch one of my 2 Pokemon on the first turn.
Yeah,
both of my Pokemon was flinching. That was my problem.
Yep. Well, where Dad puts that Doctor Strange gif of like, there's one scenario.
Yeah, Excadrill is using Rock Slide, which hits both of my Pokemon and has a chance of flinching. And if either of my Pokemon flinch, I cannot KO the Flygon because it's a double battle, of course. But was it the same sandstorm for you guys?
Yes.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So there's a vicious sandstorm, which instead of doing 1/16 of your health every turn, does 1/8 of your health every single turn, and increases sandstorm increases the special defense of rock type monsters exclusively. In this one, ground type monsters also get the special defense boost. So I cannot Oko the Flygon because of that. So both of my Mon need to be able to hit that Flygon. So yeah, 34 resets to be able to get a single start of killing the Flygon on turn 1.
That's crazy.
It took 5 turns for a combination of Ice Beam and Dragon Claw to take down Flygon. That is crazy because we kept flinching.
Yep.
Just flinch, 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 heal. Flinch, 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 heal. I was like, oh my God.
That's wild. You know, surprisingly, Mole Man also was the toughest one for me. Even though I'm playing on like ice cream mode over here. As you know, spoiler alert, you may or not have seen already in our finale battle, my team has a glaring weakness to ground type moves. And yeah, so the Excadrill was my problem. I led with Palp and I forget who else. And I almost one shot it with a Hydro Pump, but it survived with like, I don't know, 10 HP or something. And then the next attack, I figured I would just go for the Flygon, and then whoever I had out had a move that I think I maybe had Kai James out or something. And he has Rock Slide. So I was, or maybe it was Nala and Incinerate. I had somebody out who could hit both of their Pokemon. So I was like, all right, I'm not going to focus on the Excadrill. I'll just focus on the Flygon. But then he full restores the Excadrill, and it survives and then just obliterates my entire team with Earthquakes. Like I tried to get him with another Hydro Pump, but he protected, and then I missed. And then, yeah, I ended up surviving with just Kai James with about 50% HP. And so not only am I weak against ground, but you know, he has the Glysaur, and E Honda and Treebeard are weak to flying moves. So yeah, it was just, Mole Man was just tough. And I love your status down there, Venom. Beware the rise of the mole people.
Yeah, I've seen that.
It was the stories that they gave each of the Elite Four members was kind of bizarre. Like Elias being a dead guy apparently inhabited by a spirit or something, and
since we've kind of been like throwing our like random opinions about the game overall, and during the Elite Four recap, I'll just throw one in here. I thought that the Elite Four backstories of these characters were like interesting, air quotes, but like at the end of the day, I really disliked them because it literally had nothing to do with anything in the game.
I'm curious. I mean, is this more? Is there more story here in the post game? Is that what this is leading? Is that what this is leading you up to? If this is,
I would imagine so.
If their stories don't have anything to do with the post game, they don't have anything to do with the main game. I don't understand why these are here. If they're like precursors to the post game, that would be really cool. But maybe weave it into like there's mole people. There's a way to inhabit people's bodies with ghost type Pokemon.
Like a fairy princess. Like I mean, all of them individually were unique and interesting.
Right.
And I was like, okay, but like, what does that have to do with Borrius at all?
Exactly.
No idea.
But yeah, so end up beating Moleman, and then I think we all said we just went left to right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Elias was next. Elias, a spirit inhabiting a corpse. Which, hey, aren't we all? Am I right? But
and then he got like an umbrella that pokes the Pokeball.
Right.
the ground.
Because he says he can't move around very much, and he doesn't want to
Right.
because we might pull his arm off or something like that. So
Right.
he just kind of, instead of throwing the Pokeballs, they're set on the ground, so he just kind of hits it, and he's like, I choose this one. I'm not sure how he gets them back in the Pokeballs, but
I guess he taps it and says return.
He taps the Pokeball again. So hopefully it doesn't roll too far away. The floor is a little bit off kilter and just starts rolling away.
Right.
So for me, I survived with Palp and at about 50% HP, Treebeard with about 80%, and E Honda was full HP. Everyone else fell during this battle. The big thing was the Aegis slash. I never.
Yep. That guy was
dude,
rough.
just switching forms all the time and just being a
Man.
real tanky pain in the butt.
Yep.
But yeah, between Nala being able to take out him with fire and steel, but Treebeard, obviously ghost on ghost action, Kai James dark, Malamar was dark, so being able to take care of a lot of his ghost types with my counters there. Also Chandelure, being weak to water with Palp, that was nice. But yeah, Venom, how was your Elias battle?
Well, so first on the Mole Man battle, went through the most of his team again because he's all ground type. He has two Pokemon, I think, that are immune to Flygon has Levitate, and Gliscor is flying. Is Landorus flying? Hang on.
It should be.
Well, I don't know because it's not just base Landorus, it's Landorus Therian. Yep, that one's flying too. So he has 3 Pokemon that are immune to Earthquake, and he's got a whole team of ground types. And the 3 Pokemon that are not immune to Earthquake have Protect on them. So he can run Earthquake on basically everyone. The only person that I have that's immune to Earthquake is Echo, my Noivern. So had to make sure, and this was one of the battles that kind of dictated who was going to actually end up on my team. The rest of them I wasn't too worried about, but this one here, knowing it's a double battle, knowing I'm going to be dealing with a ton of Earthquake, I had to find a team that's going to survive ground type moves. And then the Quagsire has Yawn and Recover, so kept putting my Pokemon to sleep, or he'd use Yawn and I'd have to either switch them out at inopportune times, or they'd go to sleep and then I'd have to waste a turn waking them up. Just super annoying. And then both the Sandslash, Gliscor, and Excadrill all have Rock Slide, which hits both of your Pokemon. And again, you're dealing with the flinch mechanic, hitting 2 Pokemon with, of course, I'm playing on Expert. I don't know what the flinch chances are, but again, I reset 34 times to get a single scenario where both of my Pokemon didn't flinch. The flinch chance is really, really high on Expert. So it still took quite a few. Of course, immediately after killing the Flygon, immediately after the 34th reset, I make a save state. So I don't have to deal with the Flygon ever again at that point. But it took a lot. I think it took 2.5 hours to make it through this battle alone. And I believe I did the other 4 battles, including Jax, in probably 2.5 to 3 hours total. So this one battle took almost as long as them. I made it through finally with Mega Metagross near max HP. Relativity, my Walrein was still in the green, but was asleep from rest or from yawn. And Bluetooth, my Lycanroc, was under 50%. I had to use 1 Hyper Potion and 1 Awakening during the battle. Mole Man used 3 full restores to get his team back up. So made it through. Once I finally figured out how to get through it, I made it through with decent health on everyone. But then after the battle, of course, you've got you're locked in here. I realize I never bought elixirs or ethers before coming in here. So I am concerned with how long these battles are taking, that I might not be able to have enough PP on my moves to continue through. Luckily, I had picked up a couple of ethers and elixirs. I just have to be really careful with them throughout the battle to go through. But then made it through Mole Man, made it to Alias. Kumino, did you say what how you ended up making it through Mole Man?
Oh, I mean, listen, whenever we could land a hit, we got our hits in. Like, I put down the moves that took them down, but like I said, it took 28 minutes. Like, that battle made me tired.
You go take a nap.
Yeah.
Right. I think I did after this battle. But let's see. Yeah, like I said, the Flygon, it went down to a combination of Ice Beam and Dragon Claw. Expedrill finally went down to a Earthquake. Quagsire went down to the 3rd Giga Drain from Chulo. Gliscor went down to Ice Beam, and Sandslash went down to a Giga Drain. So yeah, but that was finally when we was able to actually attack.
Right. Yeah.
But in terms of Elias, oh my God, he wrecked me. I went because I was I was so tired. I was like, oh, I just went. Everybody beat up. And Mimikyu and Aegis Clash, they put it on me. They put it on me. So I had to reload to save, heal.
Very important step.
Yeah.
Right. Then we actually had a full battle where Austin Aries got to beat up the Mimikyu, taking it out because it did a Leech Fang to break the disguise while it set up the Swords Dance. And then in the next turn, just smacked it with acrobatics, and that got it out of here. Then Chandelure came, Leroy hit the field, Mega'd up, Earthquake took out Elias. Mega Bandit came out, landed a Will-O-Wisp and a Sucker Punch, but 2 crunches took it out. Trevenant hit the field, set up a Leech Seed. I full restored Leroy from his burn, but then a Mega Crunch later took it out. Aegis Slash came, 2 Mega Earthquakes took it out.
Nice. Yeah, the form switching just kept lowering my attack so much. It was so depressing.
Yeah, like I said, like it took 3 turns to hit the 2 Earthquakes because of the form switching. Yeah.
Right. Did he was it using King Shield on you guys at all?
Yeah.
Basically protect. Yeah. Did it have substitute for you guys or no?
Not for me, no.
I don't know. Like I said, 3 turns.
So for me, well, the 6th Pokemon that he has for me is Blacephalon. I think that's how you say it. So again, these guys are the 6th person that I am facing on all of these is legendaries or ultra beasts or whatever. So that's
Blacephalon?
Yeah,
Blacephalon. Of all of them. Of all of the creatures out there, Blacephalon.
Yep. Don't know
why. You're running Ghost and you go and you use a Psychic.
Yep. I don't.
Is Blacephalon Psychic Ghost?
Hang on. A Fire Ghost.
It is. I thought it was a Psychic.
Nope, it is Fire Ghost with 151 special attack.
Yeah, I knew it had a huge attack pool.
And Beast Boost. So if it KOs you, it boosts its highest stat. So every time it kills someone, it gets a higher special attack.
Yeah.
So for me, the Aegislash has Leftovers, Toxic, Substitute, King's Shield, and Shadow Ball. So basically it's running a similar thing to like I'm running on my Walrein, where but it also has stance change, which means it can go back and forth from not taking any damage to dealing boatloads more damage than my Walrein can do. But otherwise, he had the same team that you had, Kumino, just with the Ultra in there. We didn't mention the field effect for Elias is Shadowy Veil, which makes it so Ghost type Pokemon on the field with full HP cannot take the effects of hazards on the field and take half damage while at full HP. So your first attack on them is going to do half damage, and you cannot use hazards on full HP Ghost Pokemon. So again, this was the other side of Elias and Moleman were the two guys that kind of determined what my team was going to be. Because of course, as you guys know, running Spike and Gigalith on my team for so long, I had Stealth Rock and Toxic Spikes on my team. I was relying on hazards. I removed all of the hazards for my team because I needed more moves. The only person on my team that has hazards at this point is a Selgor has spikes. So I've basically removed hazards so I could try and have more coverage for Elias. Let's see, the Aegislash, same exact thing that Kumino ran into, the constant switching back and forth. He would substitute when he was in shield form, so the extra defenses meant I had nothing on my team that could actually take out the substitute in a single turn. So it was taking multiple turns to take out substitute while he's recovering health with leftovers, and then as soon as he would come into sword form, he would do a whole bunch of damage, and then he would King Shield and still get more leftovers back up. So that was really the only pain point of the whole battle was the Aegislash. No one else actually gave me the Mimikyu fell right off the bat. I had brought Sentinel in first, Megaed him, and killed the Mimikyu in 2 turns. But it was really just that Aegislash that gave me problems. But I ended up finishing the battle with I never used Grim the entire battle. My Delmise never made it to the field. Relativity, because of Regenerator and Leftovers, was almost maxed, but had Burn on it. Because one of their Mon had the Mega Banette had Will-O-Wisp on it. Yeah. So it was burning a lot of my Pokemon. So Relativity still had a burn on it. And Bluetooth was at 10%. So that was what I had left at the end of the battle. I had to use a max revive on Echo at some point to bring him back in to take out, because Echo has Dark Pulse on it, which is my only dark move. That is the only move I have that's actually super effective against Ghost type on all of my team. So I had to bring him back, and Elias used 2 full restores during the battle. So
halfway there, Arabella was third up. She's the fairy princess.
Yep.
Which she was a funny little introduction.
Yeah, she does. But I became her worst nightmare in this.
Yeah, same. Dude, I didn't lose anyone this battle. Palp, he kind of took care of business, and Treebeard and Nala stepped in to clean up some of the other ones. But she had Rabombe, Sylveon, Azumarill, and Mega Mawile. So,
and Togekiss, and what legendary / Ultra Beast she had for you?
Tapu Fini.
Okay.
Oh,
that makes
nice.
sense.
That's actually my favorite Tapu.
Nice.
But yeah, like I said, I became her worst nightmare. Rabombi, 2 acrobatics because it had a focus slash. Togekiss, Mega Media Mass. Sylveon, Mega Media Mass. Azumarill, Mega Media Mass. Mega Mawile, 2 earthquakes. It was done.
Yeah.
Just done deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, she do not like me.
Right.
Yeah.
So for Arabella, the specialty that she gets is permanent misty terrain, and then specialty called Pixies, which gives all fairy type Pokemon on the field when they switch in get a +1 boost to their lowest defense stat. So honestly, out of all of the special abilities, I think this one's probably the most useless. It didn't seem to really help her in any way, shape, or form. And the Arabella battle and the Penny battle to follow were absolute cakewalks after Moleman and Elias. I made it through. So we said it's got the Tapu Fini for me for the 6th Pokemon. The Rabombi has Reflect, Light Screen, Sticky Web, and Moonblast on it. So I know it's going to come out with Rabombi and set up all of the screens and whatnot. So I actually brought out Wisp to lead and laid down 3 layers of spikes. So now anytime she brings in a Pokemon, they're losing 25% of their HP. And then just had to wait for the screens to fall down. And then I do have a hazard clear on my team, so I was able to get rid of the sticky web and then just cruised right through the battle. I did have 1 loss. Echo did fall in the battle. Of course, I'm going against a whole bunch of fairy types, so my dragon did not survive. Grim and Wisp were both under 10%. Sentinel was at 40%, and Relativity and Bluetooth were both still at max health. And I only had to use 1 max potion the whole battle, where Arabella used 3 full restores throughout the battle.
Nice. Yeah, Palp pretty much took care of Rabombi and Sylveon with Mirror Shot, swap Treebeard in, take care of the Azumarill, and then Nala just... Dude, I was so sad. Another spoiler alert about the battle. There was no good option for me to use Nala against Kumino, but I loved Nala, and she had that Royal Roar ability. So, like, just get her in there and just let her cook, and she just one-shots, like, everything, because Royal Roar being the special attack version of Moxie was super fun.
Which is, I believe, an exclusive for this game again.
Yeah, you found is like named something else.
Grimnay
for Spectrier. Is that?
Yeah.
Yep. So it's a modified name of that move that is exclusive otherwise.
Yeah. So then after we take care of Arabella, we have Penny left, the dragon type. Elite 4 member. For me, she had Gudra, Tyrantrum, Mega Sceptile, Como-O. Who was the extra for you, Kumino?
Extra for me was Hydreigon.
And then who was the legendary?
Latias.
Okay.
Yep.
E Honda was, because I got rid of Stella, my ice type. E Honda was my only other ice move holder in Ice Punch. But he ended up falling eventually, as did Squidward and Treebeard. But, I scooted through this with the rest of the squad. Tyrantrum going down to Palp. Mega Sceptile going down to Nala. And then Como-O. Yeah, he just got the business from the rest of the team.
Well, nice. a lot of blood fell in that battle. On her side, she don't like me either, because
Okay.
got out there and Leroy Jenkins did a dragon claw to Gudra face. Tyrantrum caught a moonblast to the face. Kamo caught a moonblast to the face. Hydreigon caught a moonblast to the face, and Mega Sceptile caught an ice beam to the face. Yeah, Chulo, Michael, and Leroy Jenkins, like they handled the battle quite well.
Venom, did you have to say jump pluff during this battle?
Nope. So again, another double battle, which is always super stressful going in. And her perk is Rainbow Battle, which means that all dragon types have their secondary effects for moves. The chance is doubled. So if something can flinch you, it's a double chance of flinch. It's a double chance of poison. So moves that have 30% chance of poison now have 60% chance of poison, that kind of stuff. Again, not necessarily all that terrifying of a effect. The double battle is the part that makes it difficult. But I actually make it through. Let off with Bluetooth and Echo, which I think kind of was my go-to lead was Bluetooth and Echo, because they're both super fast. They're going to be able to KO in these double battles. They're going to be able to KO one of the Pokemon no matter what. So I was able to take care of the Tyrantrum right off the bat. Was this? Nope, that's in the next battle. That's right. But I actually made it through the Penny battle with 0 losses, 0 items used, and I never even got Grim on the field again. My Delmize never made it to
Oh,
the
nice.
field. So I actually wiped this pretty easy. Penny used 2 full restores. Relativity, my Walrein finished at 10% HP. Because it's got Ice Beam on it, so it was doing a lot of the heavy lifting with Ice Beam, and then swap it out for Regenerator to pop it back up, bring it back out, and then Sentinel was at 50%. But otherwise, my team I had 4 members of my team at max HP. At the end of this battle, it was super, super easy.
And that leaves just Jax for the champion battle,
which we don't know about, because the champion chair is supposed to be empty.
Yeah, as we go to make our way into the champion hall or whatever, Jack's like, wait a second, let's fight. The whole reason is Arthur his grandpa?
Arthur his grandfather.
Yeah, he's like that's the whole reason. That's the whole reason my grandpa had me, going about Borrius, trying to help with all of the problems or whatnot to train me up, because he used to be the champion, right? And retired or something. So he's like, let's duke it out. Winner gets the chair.
Yep. And turns out we were hand selected by Professor Log to be the challenger, kind of like in
they were kind of rivals.
It's Sword and Shield, where the commissioner and the champion kind of pick pick sponsor members to go up, and I assume Log wanted our rival, Mr. K Don, to take up the mantle, but yeah, the little difficult getting him to play along nicely the whole time. So we become the Professor Log's challenger for the title.
Yeah. So for me, it's double battle.
Yep.
But he had Golurk, Staraptor, Magnezone, Pyroar, Gastrodon, and Mega Salamence.
Wow, that's actually quite a bit different.
What do you have for you?
For me, he had Mega Salamence, Hitmontop, Magnezone, Gastrodon, Naganadel, and Pyroar.
Who in the world would ever want to use a Hitmontop?
Well, so yeah, the Mega Salamence and Hitmontop, or Salamence and Hitmontop are his 2 leads, and they both have Intimidate to start out with. So he comes out on the field, and both of your Pokemon take double attack drop
That's
to
rough.
start out with. Yeah,
That's rough.
Yeah,
Was
but-
his team the same for you, Kumino?
Yeah. Minus the, let's see, he has Mega Salamence, Hitmontop, Staraptor, Magnezone, Pyroar, Gastrodon, and
6.
yeah.
He had Staraptor for you instead of Naganadel then.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, but battle was pretty straightforward. You know, like I had stopped and told him myself, I was like, guy, you realize you trash compared to me. And
Right.
you know, essentially, like, you know, he got some good shots in, knocked out a couple of my team members, but you know, like it wasn't nothing major. Essentially, we put him down. Leroy and Paul's teaming up together and actually getting the job done. So
Nice.
Yeah.
Venom, how was your battle?
He's definitely improved a little bit. This team would have been, you know, any of the members on this team would have been wonderful at any point he was helping us through the game.
Right?
well, I mean, technically they were there,
but he wasn't using any of them. He never threw because well,
remember he left them at home.
right. He had the Staraptor for you, right? So none of the team he's using now was on his team anytime he played with me. It's like he's got all these mana. It's like we're trying to save the region, and you're telling me you have a level 76 Naganadel back at home that you're just like no, just no, don't want to do it. Yeah. So again, double battle. Come out with blue to an Echo. My dynamic duo come out to start out with. The Hitmontop has Fake Out, so I cannot Oko I cannot take out the Mega Salamence on the first turn. And again, Salamence has Rock Slide on it, so dealing with a little bit of the flit. So Fake Out flinches me. Rock Slide has a chance to flinch me. We're dealing with the he doesn't have any of the boosted stats or anything like that. So outside of the difficulty level, but Hitmontop has Fake Out and it has Helping Hand. So he is helping handing all of the people that he's bringing out. He's got Hyper Voice. He's got Rock Slide. He's got Muddy Water. Heat Wave, another Hyper Voice, another Heat Wave, Icy Wind. So this Hitmontop is just Helping Hand, just throwing them out like candy, and these double hitting moves are doing a ton of damage. So it was relatively difficult for me to make it through this. I do end up getting through. I don't believe, I never end up laying down any spikes because I don't have the opportunity. If Wisp, my Aselgor, comes in at any point, he's just not bulky enough to get spikes down at all. And again, it's a double battle, so you don't get as much value from hazards. I have to sacrifice Wisp at one point. I use one of my max revives to bring Echo back in because Echo is faster than his team. And I eventually end up in a battle between, let's see, the last 2 mon I have are Echo and Relativity. The last 2 mon he has is Pyroar and Gastrodon. And in order to KO the Pyroar, I have to use Surf to KO the Pyroar with my Walrein. And Gastrodon has Storm Drain, which boosts its special attack when hit by a water move. It immunes the damage from Surf and boosts its attack. But in order for me to KO Pyroar, I have to use Surf. So I end up boosting the Gastrodon special attack which then means Icy Wind KOs Echo. So I end up in a 1v1 between Gastrodon and Walrein going back and forth. But I get a Toxic on the Gastrodon, play around a little bit with some Protect. Relativity is burned at this point. I don't even remember one of the... Oh, yeah, I think the Heat Wave from, I believe, Naganadel early on in the battle actually burns my Walrein. So I'm taking burn damage, but I've got the leftovers on it. I did have to use a max. I said I had to use a max revive to get Echo back in there. But I end up finishing Jax's battle with solely my Walrein left at 15% HP while being burned. But I'm able to take out the Gastrodon with Toxic and Protect and and then just slowly chipping it down. So
nice.
And Jax used 3 full restore during the battle. So
dang. Well, we now have a Pokemon Unbound expert down below. Yeah, we did it. We made it through, guys. I'll do a quick team recap post Elite Four, our final team, and these will be the teams that will be entering into the Season 7 Interstitial Tournament. I had Palp the Empoleon, Squidward the Malamar, E Honda the Hariyama, Kai James the Mega Tyranitar, Treebeard the Trevenant, Nala the Pyroar. Kumino, your final team.
Me, Michael Togekiss, level 90. Austin Aries the Crobat, level 89. Chulo, I'm sorry, this whole time it slipped my mind that Chulo is a bad word. I'm so sorry, people. So sorry. So sorry. The Ludicolo at level 86. Vote Tide, the Rotom Wash at 87. Leroy Jenkins, Mega Garchomp at level 90. Paul's Mega Lucario at level 89.
Very nice. Venom, your final team, sir?
So my team ends up, because I'm playing with the level cap on, all level 75. I have Sentinel, my Metagross, Bluetooth, my shiny midday Lycanroc, Echo, my Noivern, Grim, my Delmise, Relativity, my Einstein-looking Walrein, and Wisp, my Selgor.
Very nice. And yeah, just a reminder for the Season 7 Interstitial Tournament, we will not be doing Mega Evolution, so we're gonna whoever's entering can swap the Mega Stone for any Pokemon that you had Mega Evolving on your team in Unbound for another held item.
Just
for the tournament.
Make sure that it's available.
Make sure the held item actually is in the game, because there are some held items that aren't in the game.
Yes, and not post game items, whatever you could get up to the Elite Four. Yeah, so one of the things I like doing when we wrap a season is highlight a Pokemon from your team that maybe surprised you or that you'd never used before that you kind of really enjoyed using. For me, honestly, bro, I mean, I know I talked about the Alolan Sandslash Stella, but dude, I used E Honda so much, the Hariyama. Like, I love that stupid fat karate chopping, heavy slamming, ice punching little fighting guy. Really, really glad that I stuck him on the team early on and rolled with him. And also using Treebeard, the Trevenant, was pretty cool. Trevenant was a fun Pokemon to use. Looks awesome. But my entire team was full of Pokemon I've never used before. I was excited to finally use a Malamar. I tried doing that when I emulated Sun and Moon, but of course I couldn't actually evolve Inkay because I had gyroscope thing, couldn't figure it out on the emulator. But yeah, I think E Honda was probably my MVP this season, with Treebeard being right there with a close second. Kumino, did any of your team members surprise you. How do you feel about Garchomp? I mean, I know
Have you used a Wash Rotom before?
that's true. That is a super
Actually-
random Pokemon.
or actually, no, I have not. You know, Voltide was definitely good for the reason that I got it. So I can definitely appreciate that. But the one that, in all honesty, that I couldn't let go of, like anytime that I take them off the team, I would have to bring them right back because I couldn't just convince myself to let them go. And that was actually Ludicolo.
No, nice.
You know, like I said, like I hadn't used Ludicolo since way back when the dinosaurs roamed the earth. And to see Ludicolo shine the way that it did, come in for so many battles and just do outstandingly good. And yes, it had a life orb on it, but it was good before I got the life orb. So I'm happy with Ludicolo. Ludicolo would definitely be the MVP outside of everybody else that was doing work.
Right. Dude, Ludicolo just always looks like he's in his own world, just enjoying life.
Right, just come out, just get the vibe, and just
I love it. Venom, were there any standouts that you used?
So obviously the team that I ended up with, I've never used before. Again, playing the game through on expert, I believe there was. Well, I've got my entire team. The only mon that I had early on was my Metagrow, the Beldum, my starter. All 5 of my other members changed by gym 7 or 8 or after. All the rest of them changed. And I would have loved to use Noivern and Delmise longer. It's just they weren't available prior to that point.
Mm-hmm.
And outside of that, I just didn't have time because of how much the story from gym 3 until you hit gym 7, the amount of story in there is just crazy as far as trying to get through in the time schedule like we were doing.
Yeah.
So I just didn't have time to really branch out of who I was using on my team. But I think the 2 that kind of stood out to me, not counting my final team at all, I tried so hard to get that stupid Boldor off my team at any point in the playthrough, and it kept coming back and coming back and coming back. So I don't know what it just tanky boy with only the rock type. So he just stuck around. So I was surprised by that a little bit. And then I really wanted to run Araquanid throughout the game. I just couldn't really find a place to get it on my team based on what I needed. So perhaps if I had kept Sticky Web on the team, but again, like I said, for dealing with these battles, once you got to the Elite Four, you can't. Sticky Web's not going to help you at all versus Elias. But just the surprise amount of damage that Araquanid can do because of its ability, because it has Water Bubble, which doubles the damage for water moves, and then you also get the stab on top of it. And then Araquanid is incredibly tanky. For some odd reason, it's incredibly tanky. So you can just run full defense and special defense on him and still with once you unlock Liquidate, which was another problem he had. Most water moves are special attack moves, but Araquanid wants to be a physical attacker. So you don't get access to Liquidation or Waterfall until really late in the game. So he doesn't really shine until he gets to that end, but the amount of damage he can do while being so tanky is pretty crazy.
That's awesome. I always love it when a random Pokemon comes out and impresses.
Yep.
That's why I like doing this. But yeah, so let's do a brief little review of Unbound. For me, I would say this is probably hovering around maybe like a 7.5 out of 10. I think like graphically it looks fine. The story is interesting, but I think something that we brought up before is obviously pacing. Like the way that the chunks were spread out. I feel like that's something that a lot of fan games and even the story in a mainline game. What am I getting? Yeah, just like figuring out like how to pace that story, and just why do we still like struggle with this gym circuit thing holding us back while we're trying to like prevent the end of the world? Like that's another thing that these games need to figure out and make sense, right?
Yeah.
So like outside of that, I had a good time. I remember saying at one point in our Discord chat that like I might tinker around with the post game and have since rescinded that feeling. But I enjoyed my time. I enjoyed my time for what it was. I just think maybe some parts of the narrative and things, could have been handled just a little bit better. And like we talked about just a little bit ago about, Gen 9, was it Gen 9 or Gen 8 being locked?
Being locked, yeah.
Being locked in the post game. Like why? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Like what are we doing here? Venom, how did you feel about Unbound? I thought, by the way, I didn't say this, or at least maybe I did. I'm forgetting, but I actually thought the story was pretty cool. Like using Hoopa, going through the portals, like all that stuff. Like the story was neat.
Yep. Yeah. No, the story was again pacing as far as maybe. Again, we're playing the game in a manner that it's not necessarily designed for. They're not, Pokemon games are not meant to be played in 2 gym chunks for podcasting. That's not how they're designed. So for
what are you talking about?
If you were just playing the game through to play the game, you're not going to notice. I mean, you're going to notice there's big chunks of lore at different points, but you're not going to feel the big chunks of lore at different points if you're just playing the game to play the game. You're not on some kind of a deadline to be like, I need to make it to Gym 6, and I've had 7 boss battles, and I'm not even at Gym 5 yet. What in the heck is going on?
Yeah.
So there are pretty big limitations for this game in the manner we chose to play it. If I remove the time constraints that I have, just being it's summertime for me, I am busy 5 nights a week, and there's a lot of stuff going on, so I have very limited time to put in 144 hours into a Pokemon game over a month and a half. But if I isolate out that, the being able to play this, however I managed it, being able to play this on expert difficulty and actually feel a challenge in all of these battles. And again, I did end up later on using save states to be able to make it through these battles. I wasn't going through the battles start to finish and actually getting through them. I was save stating, make it through, learn strategies, and go through. But it's still was incredibly rewarding to find those correct patterns in what mon do I need on my team, being like actually having a legitimate reason to use more than the 6 mon that I started leg 2 with. Like Mike made it through the whole game. He quit catching things and just cruised through the whole game, which is wonderful. That's how I play normal Pokemon games. I get attached to them, and that's totally fine. But there's this game has up through Gen 7, so I don't know what is the national dex for Gen 7, like high 700s, low 800s, something like that. So this game has, well, not counting legendaries, you're probably dealing with 700 Pokemon at your disposal. 600, 700 Pokemon at your disposal. So actually feeling the need to run, I have a box that has a dozen Pokemon in it that I used at some point through this playthrough that didn't make it to my final team. And because they had to be on my team to even progress to where I got to. So playing on the difficulty level that I did, needing to actually take each boss battle like it was a puzzle of its own, actually was incredibly enjoyable for me. And I'm glad I played through on the higher difficulty, even if it stressed me out trying to make it through in the time constraints. I am very glad I played through on the higher difficulty. Very glad I stuck it out. And for me, now I'm pretty limited on fan games. I've done Infinity, and I did part of Bushido, which Bushido I did not like at all. Some of the gimmicks and stuff in Bushido made me really, really frustrated. Mainly because you could get soft locked into battles way too easily in Bushido. Because again, I was playing Bushido on a higher level of there's not difficulty levels in it, but I was trying to keep myself at a level cap throughout Bushido, which was making it really difficult. So it was self-imposed, but still, to be able to soft lock yourself like that is really frustrating. But this is by far my favorite fan game of the 3 that we've done so far for PokéBoys. I would probably give this 8.5 out of 10. With the only issues, again, isolating the time constraints. That's not the game's fault. That's the medium that we are playing it for. As far as the pacing goes, if I isolate out the time things, the only issues that I really had was some of the restrictions on what's available early on, and some of the narrative choices and whatnot that don't necessarily make sense.
Right.
So,
I would just say about the pacing thing, like obviously we're playing this in a way that nobody intends games being played. But like even removing the podcasting point, like the front and back, it's like a giant mountain in the middle, right? So there still needs to be some way to like make it less of a steep incline and more like spread out, climax there. Because like after what was it, like Gym 6?
After Gym 7 you go to Crystal Peak, right?
Yeah, then there's like nothing
there's
left
no
to do story wise.
Yep.
And it made the elite. It made the Elite Four just kind of like not
very
really.
anticlimactic.
Yeah. But Kumino, what's your feeling? What are your feelings on Unbound?
All right. I'm gonna try to keep this as short and sweet as possible. So for me, somebody who hates wasting their time, I felt like I wasted my time with this. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that it's a bad game. I'm saying it's just stuff in it that really is outdated, really didn't even make sense at the time that it was created, even if you want to say that, oh, we were trying to make the game harder or give you something to do in the post game. It was just still too time restraining. Like, there's nothing wrong with having a lot of story thrown your way. Hell, I love story. Everybody knows that I play RPGs all the time. But the problem comes in at the problem comes in at I can't even remember. The whole point of what I was saying is Pokemon Unbound. Yes, it's a good game for you to play. If you're not set up on a schedule, sure, but you're still going to be set up on a schedule because you're going to be realizing, wait a minute, I got to do all of this, but I actually got to go to work. I actually got to go to sleep. I actually got to go eat. I actually got to go spend time with somebody. I got to actually, it's other things that you got to do. In terms of switching out a team, let's just be frank. Unless you put it on yourself to constantly switch Pokemon, it's not going to be too often that you do it. These fan games, they try to, make it hard so you will. I don't care. I'm going to find the people that I love and I'm going to roll with them because, like, realistically, if I'm a Pokemon trainer, guess what I want to do? I want to pick my team not based off of, oh, they're useful for this. No, I actually like them. I care about them.
Yeah.
And that's what the journey is for, and that's what my problem was with the rivals in this game. Jax, he's way better than, the abandoned child of the evil people. But even Jax feels like a wayside forced on you, in a way. Like, don't force me to have a relationship with these people just for the sake of you want me to for the story. No, give them a compelling story for me to care about them. That is something that you have to do.
They did that is a good point. Just real quick on that, they did, I feel like, a really good job with the rest of the story, but your two called Jack's quote unquote a rival as well.
Yeah.
Your two rivals don't feel like they have the same fleshed out story like the other background characters. The region and the other characters in the region have backstories and have reasons to be attached to them. I feel for Zeph and Marlon and Ivory having lost their children and going down this bad path they go down. I feel for my lost father that we find out has been trapped in a cube after doing,
which we never got him back.
Yeah, we haven't got him back at this point. But you feel for your father who helped build the region. You feel for Hoopa, who has been used and abused by these bad people for nefarious reasons and impure reasons. You never, ever, ever get the reason to care for Jax or your rival. They did such a good job with the rest of it, and they just feel like they were kind of left out.
Right. And that's why, because, like, yeah, this story is tied in there. Jax, Arthur is his grandfather. Well, that's cool and fine and dandy, but what connection do you really have to the story other than your grandfather just sending you out to do this stuff and now you in my way, or you begging for my help?
Yeah.
The other rival, whatever you guys named him, Devs, whatever y'all named him. For me, he was Vinny. Okay, I feel bad that your parents left you like this. That is very messed up, you and your sister. But at the same time, you force yourself on everybody while at the same time not giving a damn about them. Like, you like, oh, well, I got what I need from you, I'm gone. Why should I care about you? You ask, the only reason that you're helping us is because you want to talk to the bad guys about your parents. You're not helping because, oh, well, if they actually destroy the regions, then my parents ain't got nowhere to come back to. No, you don't care about that part. You just care about your parents. Well, there's nothing wrong about that, but it's not something that makes me feel sorry for you, because it's like you don't care about anything else outside of you. But yeah, I just wanted to say that bit. Sorry if I went too long, but yeah, that's just how I feel about the game. I score it a 6.5 out of 10.
Nice. So we're all 1 point away from each other in one way. But yeah, thank you guys for playing through Pokemon Unbound with me.
Thanks for
Listeners,
having me
thank
on.
you for playing along with us. Of course, Venom, it was a pleasure having you on as co-host.
Yep.
Yes, it was. Ben.
If you guys haven't yet, it would probably be a good time to go check out the season 7 finale battle. So go ahead and do that. Otherwise, please like, follow, leave a comment, let us know who your team MVP was. And yeah, just be looking forward to season 7 interstitial tournament here with some implications for season 8, the Fate Lock challenge. More details to come on that. Join the Discord so you can stay up to date with all that fun stuff. Kumino streaming on Twitch. Check out his channel, link in the description below. And Venom, you can always come chat with him in the Discord as well. He's always in there making a ruckus. But until then, we'll see you next time.
Peace.